This is Matt Baker. He is the owner, one of the owners of MoonTown Sound. A great poet, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you.
Of course. And then also you have a sound company. I always forget the name of it. I'm so sorry.
Dancing Sound Man.
Dancing Sound Man.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of meeting Matt a couple years ago when you guys had your space over off of, what was that? Over off Cherry?
No, it was actually just right up here on Hampton. It was about 10 blocks
That's right.
south of where we are now.
Okay, yeah. And even that space was awesome. So,
well, thank you.
I just want to ask Matt, because he's literally seen like every band in the area come through. He's done sound for them everywhere. This man has so many accolades that I can't even begin to tell all of them.
Oh, you're too kind, my friend.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to ask you some questions about like, how do bands pull local crowds? And I'm specifically thinking like for local venues, because there's so many bands that I've seen that can pull crowds, but then there's some that are like amazing that can't pull crowds. And so I feel like there's a disconnect, and it has to be something deeper than just the music.
Sure.
That's me personally. So I've prepared a couple questions for you, and I just want to let you riff on them.
Okay,
see what you
absolutely.
think. So the first one is, when it comes to bands that can pull a crowd, what is it they are doing that other bands aren't?
So I guess there's quite a few things that they're doing that other bands aren't, but the main thing I think that I see consistently is like whoever it is, whether they're cover bands or original bands, like whatever the content is, whether they're doing metal or country or somewhere in between, it's the one consistent factor for bands that are pulling crowds is always the community engagement.
Yeah.
I feel like they're always investing more in building a community that is connected to them and invested in their product, and that has to be like a conscious effort. And the bands that I see that are regularly pulling great crowds consistently, they've all done the work to really like not just engage in community, but to really like build their own community. And I think that work is one of the things that the bands that successfully draw are doing that most of the others aren't, is really like taking the time to really engage with the community and build that community.
Yeah. Do you think that there's anything specifically that some of these bands are doing to build that community, or do you feel like it's all different?
I do think it's different, and it is, it sometimes is genre dependent. You got to meet your market where they are, so to speak, but for example, our friends in Paralandra are phenomenal at building that community and maintaining that community, and they do that through multiple different online avenues, but also in-person meet and greets. They're the kings and queen.
They're really good at it.
VIPs of meet and greets, of just ways to make that community feel invested in them and invested in their success. And so then what they get is like, these people aren't just spending money for a product, right? They're getting serotonin out of it. They're getting a buzz out of helping these people succeed because they've become so invested in whatever that is. And so with Paralandra, they're using multiple different online platforms and funnels in order to reach out to those people and keep them engaged, as well as combining it with a bunch of different live opportunities. With other bands, oftentimes like on the festival circuit, those bands are showing up and they're partying all weekend with the festival goers or whatever, and like making those intimate connections. In a lot of cases, it's literally just spending time out at shows and building up the community that way. Making sure that your fellow musicians and fellow live event attendees see you as one of them, and they see you like at shows and enjoying, because again, they're going to get a rush out of seeing you succeed because you're one of them. You've established yourself as one of them, right? And so like with a lot of them, I think that it could just be something as simple as like, hey, have a homework assignment, go to a show. Go to a show a week and show support. And you'd be surprised at how often those people will turn up to see you in return. And so a lot of it starts there, but then
it's so important. Like just showing up to be a part of the community is just as helpful as playing a show.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think that that's something that is often overlooked, to the point that, it's almost a trope, the band's leaving before or directly after they play or whatever, versus the bands that actually stay to the end of the night and hang out and chat with whoever got hosed at doing the late set with nobody around, and actually making them feel good. Because it's those people that are going to show up and be screaming in the front row whenever you play. And those people are going to be the ones that give the people sitting in the back permission to come up and scream at the front row, right?
Right.
And we've all seen it happen where, you got an apathetic crowd, but you got just one or two people that are really into it and engaged, and they get up front and they start dancing and they start cutting loose. And then that gives everybody else the permission to cut loose as well. And so you got to have those people, and that's how it starts, and it's a snowball effect, and it comes from, just being that person for somebody else. That's usually where it starts. It's
actually really well said. Yeah, I like that. I do agree with you 100%. I really do, and I think that showing up and being a part of the community is incredibly important, because those people, like you said, will show up in return. What I'm curious about too, though, is, for instance, in the Springfield area where we're at, there's close to 200,000 people just in Springfield.
Right.
But if you add up the surrounding areas, what is that? I don't even know. Is it close to 500,000? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider the entire metro area of Republic, Nixa, Ozark,
it's got to be somewhere around that, right?
Yeah, it's got to be somewhere.
If we're off on numbers,
the internet definitely let us slide. They'll be super cool about it.
Yeah. They're
famously understanding people on the internet.
But there is a part of me that's I do agree that you have to show up and be a part of the scene. However, there's got to be a way to reach the people who aren't a part of the scene, just people who just want to listen to music.
Right.
Those people exist.
They do.
They go to festivals, they go to all these different things. Why aren't they showing up to your local event? I don't know why.
I think that part of that is that over the years, our traditional musical spaces have been sort of involved in this almost regression, to the point where there's a lot of people, frankly, that don't feel safe or accepted or welcomed in our traditional musical spaces.
I could see it. Yeah, I could see that, because there's several shows I've done personally in Springfield that I have had people be oh, I don't want to go over there.
Yeah.
That's been 10 years ago.
Right. But there's definitely something to that, where whatever the cause is, and, it is what it is, but, our minority communities, our, LGBTQ siblings, our, differently abled folks, women in general, don't really feel super safe or welcomed or like they're wanted in the first place, right? And so I think that contributes a large part of it, is everybody's talking about the market share and how can we get more of the market share, but literally half of the market is left off of the table.
Yeah.
Because our traditional musical spaces don't really feel that great for them. And so it's about intentionally going out of our way to curate spaces and make space for them inside of our traditional musical spaces, but also meeting them where they're at and trying to reestablish that trust, I think, will be a huge part of it. And really beyond that, I think that was maybe the root cause of it, but it's just led to this general disinterest in, dive bar spaces, right?
Yeah.
But you go to a basement show and the kids
it is a different vibe.
It's a whole different vibe. The kids are there, they're energetic, they're engaged.
Go to the Fun Gin.
Enthusiastic. Yeah, go to the Fun Gin. There's several other different great house venues that have popped up. And I have to believe that it's because something different has happened.
Yeah, because the Fun Gin has a built-in crowd. you go play there, and it's packed. Almost always,
Yeah.
no matter who's playing.
Yeah. And big part of that is community, though,
Yeah, it's
right?
community.
And that is, at least in my opinion, it sort of comes back to that original thing where that's what they're not necessarily getting. And, you know, all the people that nostalgically talk about the ballroom and the Outland and stuff, like, what did they get there?
They had
They had more than music.
It was a
right?
third space.
It was a third space.
Yeah.
It was a place where they could get community, where they could engage with community. And I feel like that's being lost in a lot of spaces. And so we're trying hard to cultivate that. But as musicians, you guys also have a responsibility to try to cultivate that and to try to bring that back, because like we're losing it. And
So this is actually something Matt and I have talked about multiple times. At least I think. We just talked about it a minute ago.
Yeah.
I was saying a space like MoonTown, first of all, you guys have done incredible work. I love MoonTown. It's the first venue, I think, in town that I've ever felt like I actually
thank you.
can just show up, like, and just be like, it doesn't matter who's there. It's MoonTown. I'm gonna have a good time. Like, that goes a long ways. It's incredibly important for the scene. It really is.
Thank you.
However, as an artist, I do feel like it is our job to also go out other places and
100%.
captivate people's attention there to come here. This is the space for us to perform that has all the nice things. It's a space for us to feel comfortable. It's a space where it's got good sound. It's got awesome lighting, amazing staff, and like, this is the place you want to play. But like, if people don't know it exists, you have to go make them care about you to come here first. And
so this is one of the games I like to play with people is, you know, especially because we're surrounded by people that are as invested in this local music community as we are. And so sometimes we take it for granted, but then you talk to people that aren't as invested and you find out that like a lot of people don't love local music. They don't even really engage with it.
Or they don't even know it exists.
Yeah. And so I like to ask them like, oh, well, what are you digging on right now? You know, what are you listening to? And inevitably they'll tell me, and I'll be able to come up with like at least 3 local artists that will scratch that same itch.
Yeah.
And that will love you back, right?
Yes.
Whenever you fall in love with local music will fall in love with you back. And like, it'll hug your neck, and local music will give you more of a buzz than you've ever gotten in your life off of going and buying a CD or seeing, you know, some giant artist whom you've never met do yet one more great spectacular thing. And it's not to take away from the spectacularness of what they're doing, but like, you're so disconnected from these people, and these people don't understand the rush that you can get out of watching somebody whom you have, you know, met their significant others and had conversations with, you like that, just that level of personal connection, and then suddenly that person is experiencing success in their chosen field. The buzz you get off of that is so stupid good.
Yeah.
Like,
because everyone wants to find someone before they blow up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just a cool feeling.
Yeah. And you're not going to find someone before they blow up on the national circuit, because you're here. You're not in LA, right? And so you're not going to go, or you're not in Nashville, so you're not going to find a up-and-coming Nashville artist or an up-and-coming LA artist. But there's plenty of up-and-coming Springfield artists who have every bit as much potential to go on to do that big stuff. You know, we've got somebody out of Willard who did very, very well for herself.
For real.
Yeah. So we have
2
every
people
bit
out of Willard that did really well. There's the obvious one that everyone knows, Chapel Roan.
Yeah.
But then there's also Derek Barry from Trash. That's like an underground scene, but they're doing amazing. And like,
yeah, man.
You
So
know?
it could totally happen here. And even when it doesn't happen on that full scale, but you just see your people get to go on tour with Yngwie Malmsteen.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So maybe it's not like winning a Grammy or, you know, doing the Death Clock stage out over the Atlantic Ocean or whatever, but it's still something that's pretty fantastic, and we know those people and we love those people, and the feeling we got from watching them eat, like, Gosh, that's so good.
It's so cool.
It's so good.
He's talking about Paralandra.
Yes, I'm talking about Paralandra. Whenever they got to go and tour with Yngwie, it was such a huge rush for me. The feelings I got out of that were so good. Yeah, I can only imagine what they got out of it.
Yeah. Well, that's like they went on tour with George Lynch, and they asked me if I wanted to be their merch person. I was like, yeah. I just want to watch George Lynch play every night. I had his freaking poster as a kid. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Like, that's so sick.
And so you're never going to get that feeling or experience that feeling if you don't go and actively engage with your local music community.
Yeah.
Right? And that it's something that you want. I'm telling you now, like, it's a really good feeling to have whenever you get to watch people that you know and love experience success in their chosen field, and you get to watch them like grow as artists and as creators and become like masters of it. Like, there's really not many feelings in the world that are better than that feeling.
No, and there's so much talent, not just in Springfield. Like, if you're seeing this video from somewhere else, your local scene probably has awesome talent too. You just need to engage with it. And it's like, it's not just bands that need to go out and engage with it. Like, if you're someone who just loves art, like, you should be engaging with it. Like, dude, get off your phone. Go see it in person and bring a friend, you know.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, the feelings you're going to get from it, if you guys can hit that magic point where, you know, the crowd and the performers become one, and you reach that like level of summation, even that in itself during the performance is miraculous.
Yeah.
Like, it is I don't know, I've never done any of the hard drugs, but I can only imagine it's about as close to doing a shot of heroin or something as you can get when you hit that moment where you're just completely connected with the performers on stage, and you're amongst hundreds of other people who are also completely connected with the performers on stage. That feeling is just, I don't know, it's miraculous.
Well, that kind of goes to like what you were saying about like community. If you build a community where people feel comfortable to be themselves in a crowd, holy cow, like that and goes a long ways.
Consider the tool, right? Because why is worship such an effective part of every single church service? Because music goes so far back in our human makeup. Primitive feats pounding out rhythms around ancient fires, like, that's how we became human. It's a part of the process of us becoming human, is learning how to make music together and how to enjoy music together. And so it is still one of the quickest and most effective binders of human beings.
Yeah.
Way to, like, food and music are the two things that will bring humans together quicker than anything and everything. It's an extremely effective tool for building community. So if you're a musician, you already have one of the most powerful community building tools at your disposal. And so then you just got to work on building out the rest of that toolkit. And
I do think so. Like, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think building a community is easier when you're playing shows where there's people already there. How do you get the people there? Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you're at a show and all that, it's easy to build a community, but how are you getting those people that don't normally go to shows to come to shows? Because to say that, I've had so many people, and we've talked about it a million times, I've had so many people tell me, oh, it's because you live in this area, that's why no one cares about fill in the blank genre or this or that. And I'm like, no, because statistically that's just not true.
Right.
That's just not true. And so how do you get those people to come here? Do we need to, is the day, everyone's on the internet, we're doing it right now. Everyone's on the internet pushing content, but what do we need to start passing out flyers again? I think yes, first of all.
I think there's something to the physical media. It is very hard for us to compete, especially with small budgets. It's hard for us to compete in the marketplace of so much noise. And there's such a steady onslaught of content coming at us from all directions that you have to have something like really unique and something that is really compelling in order to kind of break through that noise. And it's not always the same thing. Kind of the same way with the way bands build their communities, is it's not always the same thing that makes your voice unique or compelling, and it doesn't have to be. That's the beauty of it. But there does need to be that sort of unique and compelling element in order to cut through the noise. And one of those things is novelty. And at this point, like a handbill is a novel thing now.
Yeah.
It's not a thing that people are used to receiving anymore. And so there's something to that where like playing up that novelty aspect, and what's something I can do that isn't the same thing that everybody else is doing.
And that all depends on the local scene you're in, because like I was literally just talking, we're at the jam night right now, so you might hear music, but I was talking to one of the other guys before we came in here to have this discussion, and I was saying in today's day and age, it's like we're bombarded with content, and you need to give people art. Like that's the difference. But also, whatever is novel to your area will be different no matter where you are. For instance, I've gone to New York City. Like I say this all the time because it blows my mind that this isn't around here, but I've gone to New York City like 3 times, and I've been to Vegas like once. And some of the street performers, the buskers, are mind-blowing. They're insane. And there's like no buskers in Springfield.
Right.
And I know people are like, well, it's a lot smaller city. I was like, it's big enough to have buskers. That's why why is no one doing that? That's novel to this area.
Right.
There are a few.
There's a few, you might find them downtown occasionally whenever there's really heavy markets or whatever. But yeah, it's not, I don't know why it's not as big of a thing here. I think maybe it's policed a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, but
we should talk to some buskers, but yeah, absolutely.
It's one of those things that like at face value, it's not weird. It's not novel, but it is novel to our city.
Right. Because again, it's one of those things where, like I talked about, this sort of slow dilution or moving away from what our traditional musical spaces once were into something that's different now. And like one of those things is we have slowly lost touch and we've lost that sort of anchor point with our musical communities, I think, in a lot of ways. And a big part of it is that now that they're not in our traditional musical spaces anymore in nearly the same numbers as they used to be, like now these people aren't experiencing music at all.
Yeah.
And so it is completely novel for them to just have like live music happening to them
in the park.
Yeah. And that's something that a lot of them, maybe unfortunately have never experienced in their life, at least around here.
No, and I think people need to really start thinking outside the box, because like I've talked to you about this, but I did a headphone concert in a bookstore where people could come up, just put on headphones and listen.
Right.
It was weird, and there was several people walked by. They're just kind of like, what is this, But the people who got it really got it, and like it was very eye-opening to me, because it was just a weird idea I had on a whim. I was like, this would be fun, but the reactions I got from the people who were into it was very eye-opening, because they were like, this is so cool, and it's like, yeah, I guess it is. Why is I'm sure it was super informative too in terms of like being able to, because for the most part you're trying to reach so many people at once. Yeah, you're trying to reach people that normally wouldn't find you. Yeah, whether that's live or on stream, you're trying to reach hundreds, maybe thousands of people at one time, versus this curated experience where you're literally just this one person. You're reaching this one person. And so the quality of that experience is probably significantly greater than the quality of the experience that is just customized to 100,000 people versus that one person. Yeah. And so it gives you some insight about like, how can I apply those same concepts into what I'm doing when I'm trying to make it fit for hundreds of thousands, but can I still include some of those elements that I did whenever I was curating that experience for one? Yeah. And how can I make each of these people
these hundreds of thousands feel like they're that one.
Yeah, because they feel like this experience is for me.
Right.
Which is, that's just human nature.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's the golden ticket, though. That's what you want them to walk away from any of your musical experiences or any of your artistic endeavors feeling. Like, this thing was for me, or you want them to connect with it on such a level that they feel ownership of it.
Yeah.
Right? And being able, like, actually experiencing just doing that, like actually making the art for that one person, instead of, like, that has to be informative in terms of, like, I don't know, at least in my experience, I would feel like that would be very eye-opening, like you said, where...
I think so. And there's, like, so many things that it doesn't have to, like, obviously that situation works for me because my music doesn't have vocals. Like, if it had vocals, it'd be too loud in a bookstore. But, like, there is every genre, no matter what you're doing, there is something that you could do that would be novel and interesting.
And I think that's a big part of what I've been preaching to bands for years as we discuss promotional strategies and how we're going to try to make whatever event pop, is like, well, what else is there? And they're always like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, we know about the show, music from 9 to close or whatever. It's $15 door charge or whatever it is, but, like, what else is there? And so oftentimes the answer is just like a blank look. And, well, what else what about this event is novel? What can we market it as? What are we billing it as? If I'm just billing it as XYZ band plays on this night, then we're both kind of like failing, because we've already established that there's a small and dwindling market for XYZ band on this night.
Yeah.
And it's through no fault of XYZ band, it's just something greater and systemic that's happening within our market. But, like, so it's that, whatever the novel thing is, what else are we doing that's going to make this event stand out? Is it, do we have headphones, or, like the low sensory show that we did with you, which was really cool, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Where it was literally just Nathan with his computer and tracks, and we were able to keep the volume down, we were able to keep the lights quite a bit less active than normal, and, provide a show that was safe for people with sensory issues. And I thought that was both sweet as hell and novel and engaging and, like, endearing. And those are all things that, not to be a cynic, but, like, those are all things that work great for building brand infrastructure as well as for building community, right?
Yeah,
because people want a compelling story.
Well, because, and even in that situation, the whole thought process behind was like, I have a lot of people in my life that do have sensory issues that would love to go to shows, but they're like, I can't.
Right.
And so I was like, well, let's do a low sensory show. And I would love to revisit that sometime too, because I think I think that could be a lot of fun. Yeah. And you could bill also just, and I don't feel like I'm special, so I like a huge wide range of music. Like, I play instrumental guitar, but I love so many different things.
Right.
And so I do also think that, like, a lot of bands pigeonhole themselves by not playing with bands that would be way weirder than them. Like, I only thought of this because when we did the Low Sensory show, we had Jack Bowden, my old music teacher. Nothing like what I play. Nothing. Yeah. But it worked.
Songs about corn and walking barefoot in the forest with his banjo.
Did it not work, though?
No, it worked perfectly.
I think we need to, like, mix a little bit with genres and stuff.
Oh, like, and again, it speaks to the novelty of it, but also, like, I think a lot of people are scared to do it because they, for some reason, kind of discredit their audience a little bit.
Yeah.
And they don't. We all sort of have this idea that the audience isn't going to roll with it.
We need to stop acting like people are dumb.
Yeah.
They're not.
I mean, your crowd is a lot hipper than you're likely giving them credit for if you think they're not going to be able to roll with you from metal into, some sort of progressive jazz fusion and then maybe into some bluegrass and then back into metal or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, most of us, like, if we were just talking about it, like, you're not that one-dimensional. I know that we can have conversations about a broad range of artists, and you're
Yeah.
gonna have knowledge and be excited about an entire broad range of artists outside of instrumental metal.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I give you the credit as just a standard human to not be super one-dimensional, but for some reason we don't apply that same credit to our crowds, and
it's weird.
it is kind of weird. We're just really kind of scared to throw something new at them.
I will tell you this: when I did the headphone concert, a couple of people that stopped that were really into it were nothing like what I thought.
Right.
They looked like nothing that I would have thought of, and like. So we need to really get out of our own heads about like I need to play with these bands because those are the crowds I'm going for. It's like, how do you know that?
Right.
How do you know that? I love metal and I go to a lot of metal shows. I also love jazz, dude, and I go to a lot of jazz fest things. And so why can't you play a metal show that has like a metal band, a jazz band, and a folk band? Like, why? Why can't you? Or like, I don't know.
Especially if it's part of a greater theme or something where like maybe this is a show for a cause.
Yeah.
And again, coming back to that, it is part of the community thing and it's part of the branding thing. But like, maybe we're crazy for starting a music venue amidst what seems to be the music industry collapsing. But I think that what this is really an opportunity for us to be the center of like a new musical renaissance.
Yeah, and you're also giving a space that doesn't exist right now.
And I believe people are hungry for it. I believe that they're hungry for something that is compelling in that way, that gives them the good feelings of altruism. They know that by engaging in this, they are also helping out their community, right? Because we're giving them that social aspect. Forgive me. Oop. Now that one's gonna go off forever too. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
It's trash night.
That's okay.
But yeah, so we're giving them that social, but we're also giving them novelty. We're giving them community, and I think that that's gonna matter more to people, at least right now, than like any number of other things. I don't know, that kind of derailed me. But
no, you're fine. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
like,
we're like
starving for a third space.
We're starving for it, and we can't just write the people off because they're starting to show up and they want something different than what's been offered to them before. And so you're on the right path with like trying to explore that and figure out. And I don't have the answers necessarily. I know that they want something different. They want something meaningful and something compelling. Mm-hmm. And those sort of relationships are going to be so much higher of a value proposition in the long run, because you're going to get way more than just one album sold, right? Like you're going to get people that support you and help build power with you for the rest of your career as a musician by investing in those people. And we're asking them to invest back in us. And so you're on the right path, I think, trying to explore that and ask those questions. Like, how can we facilitate that? What barriers exist between the creation of those communities? Like, how do we get the crowds out to become the community? Because, building community is great, but how the hell are you going to build a community in an empty room?
Yep.
And so we really do need to be exploring novel marketing schemes and taking music out to the people where they're at, and novel show ideas and stuff in order to capture that part of the market that's become disinterested.
And I think a good example of this is the punk and hardcore scene. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many things that, like, I tell people all the time, like, you just need to be more punk rock. It's like, that doesn't mean you need to play punk rock, but like the attitude of punk rock and hardcore and the community that they build, and like
it's very DIY centric. Those guys are like oftentimes, so a huge opportunity that I see a lot of bands miss out on, first and foremost, is merch. Everybody's missing out on merch for the most part, and it's really one of the only viable ways to make regular income. As a venue owner, I can sit here and tell you that like playing at venues is probably not the most viable way to make a regular income, but selling merch at those shows is a really viable way, and a lot of people are missing that boat. And these punk kids are all they're
DIY.
making their own merch, man.
That's
They're
the
making
big
their
part
own
of it.
screen prints. They're doing their own bleach paintings. They're doing whatever it is. They're thrifting shirts and painting on them and making their own DIY merch, and people are buying it.
Yeah, because it's interesting. I have a friend. We'll wrap this up. I know you spent. Thank you first of all for spending so
course.
much time with me. But
It's my pleasure.
piggybacking off the merch thing. I have a friend, and if he's watching this video, he's gonna know who he is. But I'm not gonna call him out. He's a really good drawer, and I tell him all the time he can doodle stuff up really quick. And he's in a band, and I'm like, dude, why are you not just sitting at the merch table after show? Be like, $5, I'll draw you a random doodle. I would
dude.
buy that.
I would buy.
Yeah, that would be so
100%.
sick. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not that good. I'm like, whatever, man.
Right.
You could sit, like, that is killer. If you can, like, if you have a skill like that, like, you can draw, like, and you can doodle something up really quick that looks halfway
It's
decent.
that-
$5, I'll draw you something really quick.
Again, it's those extra things. We had a band recently come through that had hot sauce. And it was delicious, by the way. I think it was Blanket of M.
Yeah.
And they had really good hot sauce, which I'm still eating now. But, like, it's just that
The
little
novel thing. Yeah.
And especially for me, because I see literally hundreds of bands constantly.
Yes.
And so for me in particular, it's, you got to kind of have something different and novel to stand out. But there's no reason that shouldn't hold true for other people as
Right.
well. There's got to be something else. And whatever it is, it's something different.
Everyone has something unique.
Yeah.
You need to
And
really
if you don't
explore
have,
what that
if
is.
you can't draw and you can't make hot sauce and you can't, whatever, there is something that you can do that people will find interesting and compelling and will help to humanize you a little bit more.
Yeah,
And
almost every band has like someone who knows how to do photography. Mm-hmm. Why are you not doing, like, at your booth, like, $5 portrait?
yeah.
Why not, dude? Concert portraits.
That builds that builds dual power because you're giving them something physical that they can take away, which is we need to be doing that as often as possible in this world of the purely digital. Like, something physical that they can take home is fantastic because they're able to focus all those good feelings they had at your show on this thing.
Yes.
Right, and that's a lot harder to do with a screen.
Dude, that's just goes back to literally, like, having business cards. Like, I literally today, I went to a coffee shop, and in my truck, I have a little symbol that Gabe got me. Mm-hmm. And it was sitting there, and the girl giving me my coffee, she's like, is that a symbol? And I was like, yeah. And I hit it, and she's like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that? I was like, oh, actually, my drummer got me this. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, you're in a band? And I was like, yeah. She's like, my husband and I love live music. What's your name? And I was like, oh, here's my card. And she's like, we're definitely going to come to one of your shows.
Boom.
That happened to me today.
And so I know
Cards.
that a lot of the people out there probably have had that same experience where they've talked to somebody who was interested, we're definitely going to come to your show, but you didn't have anything to hand them.
They forgot your
and
name.
they forgot who you were.
Yeah.
And you definitely fell out of their attention because while you may be charming, and I'm sure you're charming as hell, like, almost nobody's that, like, Eddie Murphy level of charming where you're just going to make a lasting months-long impression until your next show, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, Nathan Levy. Like, no, you hand them something physical, and even if it's a business card, they put it in their wallet, and then a couple months later, they rotate it out of their wallet onto the pile of business cards on their dresser or whatever, but they thought about you when they pulled it out of their wallet and said, oh yeah, I remember that guy, he was cool.
Yep.
And so, like, you're giving your name and your branding a little bit more longevity in their headspace.
Yeah.
And so that the next time your marketing comes across their feed or comes across their visual eyesight, if you put up a handbill or something, they remember.
Yep.
Right? Because you did just that little bit of extra that gave your branding and your name just that little bit of extra longevity in their heads.
And try to make this stuff be unique. Like, my cards have, like, something I physically drew on it. Like,
that's right.
And, like, it's funny. It says, I used to be a tree, make this count. Don't panic, it's only a QR code. And then they scan it, and it takes them to my EPK, which has literally everything. So, I don't know. It's just little things.
Yeah.
But, dude.
And thoughtful presentation. I
Exactly.
think that, I don't know, I think more than gimmicks, I feel like people were probably wanting gimmicks on how to get people to shows.
But that's not what works.
That's not what
No.
works. What works is like consistently thoughtful and considerate presentation of your art to
Yep.
people.
Art. See how he said art, not content.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Well,
Dude,
thank you.
thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate you.
Hopefully there's something usable. It was a long interview, but
It was, but yeah, sorry, that's I can chat forever. That's
yeah,
my
same.
yeah.
I'm good at yapping.
But thank you so much for doing this. Come out to MoonTown Sound. They do so many cool things. It's not just music. I mean, it's first and foremost a venue, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they also have other stuff they do. They have like chill night where they just listen to records and stuff.
Yeah, we have all sorts of stuff to offer, but primarily I think what we have to offer is community. Community that happens to love live music, but like it's community nonetheless that is welcoming and inviting, and we want you here. Like, we would be better if you were here with us.
Dude,
Yeah.
we should host here's an idea, someone can use it. Someone should figure out a way to host a live concert / D&D night where it like is interactive with the concert. That'd be tough, but that would be sick as fuck, dude.
That would be cool as hell if the band
Yeah.
could sort of
Could figure out
work
how
off
to-
of the DM,
Yeah.
and the DM could work off what the band's doing and,
Yeah.
and establish some synergy there. Like, oh, that would be
There's an idea.
that'd be dope. Yeah, take that and run with it.
Yeah,
Or somebody will.
for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
my pleasure. Thank you.